It was good, YouTube. Welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I'm going to be breaking down the Soul King's creation of the Bleach realms and how it correlates to the primordial waters seen in different mythologies and religions. And also I'll be breaking down the Auswahlen chant because it is filled to the brim with heavy symbolism that I feel like a lot of people missed out on. So with that being said, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let's get on with it. In many ancient myths and religious texts, primordial waters are a symbol for the formless void that existed before the creation of the universe. This concept appears across multiple cultures where the waters represent chaos or a vast undivided source from which life, order, and divine power emerges. In these traditions, the waters are seen as a realm where all possibilities coexist before they are given shape, serving as the wellspring for existence itself. It's clear that Kubo took inspiration from these mythologies and religions when creating his version. In Hinduism, the cosmic ocean is the primordial boundless expanse that existed before any form of creation. It is a vast undivided ocean of chaos embodying the limitless potential and latent power from which the universe eventually arises. The cosmic ocean isn't just water, it represents the unmanifested state that holds all possibilities that both time and space are born from. The cosmic ocean is often symbolized as the womb of creation, a divine cradle where the essence of existence lies dormant, containing within it every element, life force, and cosmic principle that will eventually take form. From this ocean emerges Narayana, often depicted on the infinite serpent Anada or Shisa, floating peacefully. This symbol of Narayana on the cosmic ocean signifies that even in the midst of the chaotic waters, divine consciousness and order are present, poised to transform potential into reality. In the Bible, the concept of primordial waters appears in the very beginning of the book of Genesis. The deep represents a vast, unformed body of water that existed before creation, which was a chaotic, formless void over which God's spirit moved. This mysterious depth is dark and without order, symbolizing an untamed and undefined space where nothing has yet taken shape. As the narrative unfolds, God begins the work of creation by separating light from darkness and then dividing the waters to establish the heaven and the earth. This act of separation and division transforms the chaotic waters into order, structure, and life. God's command introduces form and function, reshaping the deep into an organized cosmos with distinct realms of the universe, land, and sea. In this way, the Bible uses the primordial waters of the deep to emphasize the power of God, who alone has the authority to turn chaos into creation. Where the deep is limitless and undifferentiated, God's actions brings boundaries and purpose, establishing a universe that can support life and thrive under divine order. The waters here thus represents both the potential of creation and the necessity of the divine guidance to channel that potential into something meaningful. This imagery also resonates with ancient Eastern myths, where chaotic waters symbolize the untamed forces that the gods must bring in order to create the world. But the Genesis account differs in portraying a single omnipotent God who, without struggle, effortlessly molds the deep into a structured, living cosmos. Now, we see that Rio was in the primordial waters before creating the three realms. These waters represent the pre-existence of all things, a vast boundless state that contains the potential for every future form, essence, and boundary. Within this primordial realm, Rio's divine act brings order out of chaos, establishing distinct realms that will become the Soul Society, Mundo, and the world of the living. Now, we know the primordial universe in Bleach was also seen as a chaotic realm with no sense of order and no boundary between life and death. There was a constant swaying which would have eventually led to the destruction of the universe, but the universe seemingly rejected this outcome, leading to the birth of Adonus, a being who transcended everything. The appearance of three whirlpools in the primordial waters signifies the act of divine creation. Each whirlpool spins out from Rio's power, embodying the formation of the separate yet interconnected dimensions that govern the Bleach universe. The parts of the ripples in the infinite waters represent the three domains, each with unique properties, inhabitants, and rules within the infinite Garganta. This shows Rio's role as the axis and anchor of reality, giving form to the formless and introducing a natural balance that will sustain life and spiritual order across the realms. In the same way that the deep in biblical tradition is separated into sky, sea, and land, Rio's whirlpool creates worlds with distinct natures and energies. This narrative format reflects a common theme in creation myths and religious stories where order emerges from chaos through the actions of a divine being, beautifully done by Kubo. In Core 2, the Auswahlen was used by Yhwach, and contrary to the manga, the ability was given a chant. Now, this chant had a lot of people theorizing because the name Adonus was used, and in recent episodes of Core 3, it was confirmed that the Soul King's name was Adonus. Eventually, I will make a video breaking down the name, but for right now, I'll be talking about the entire chant because it was imbued with heavy symbolism. So the chant goes, raise them, silver emblems, ashen meadows, circular path buried in light, eye of a gat, tongue of gold, skull cup, coffin Adonus, the object we rate is your heart, Auswahlen. Let's break down each line, and I think you're gonna start seeing how this all ties back to the Soul King and Yhwach himself. The line raised them is short but packed with meaning, especially when we consider its role in the context of the Auswahlen. On the basic level, it implies that spiritual power and life force are being pulled upwards and summoned from the individuals impacted by this technique. But there is more to this. Raise them is a demand for both control and revitalization. It's a declaration that the time has come for these fragments of power to be unified and uplifted within Yhwach's own being, or who he chooses fit, strengthening him yet completely severing his followers' individual powers and connections. This is not just a gathering, but a transformation, a merging of separate wills and powers into Yhwach's greater singular purpose. The phrase silver emblems in the Auswahlen chant holds significant meaning when we break it down. In the Bleach universe, silver is closely associated with the Quincy, and we all know a silver physically appears on the heart of the victims of the Auswahlen, called the silver of stillness. This symbolizes both possession and control as Yhwach reclaims the life force he bestowed upon them. But it's not just a visible mark, it's a powerful symbol of Yhwach's authority and influence over his followers. The silver is called the silver of stillness because in reclaiming the hearts of those Quincies, he's basically halting their life force, leaving their power still as it flows back into him. We know when the silver of stillness was used on Yhwach, it essentially stopped his power, causing it to become still. The silver emblem also symbolizes Yhwach's claim to each Quincy's heart, soul, and abilities. By marking them in this way, Yhwach isn't just simply taking back the power he gave, but asserting that he owns their very existence, which is an internal reminder that Yhwach's power over them is not only complete, but inescapable. Ashen Meadows paints a visual that shows the brutal aftermath of the Auswahlen. In this context, ash represents the remnants of those affected by Yhwach's power, leaving behind what resembles a meadow scattered with ash. Each ashen meadow created by the Auswahlen is a wasteland where the life and energy of his followers have been harvested, leaving nothing but hollow remains. When he says circular path buried in light, I think it's clear this is talking about the ability itself, or maybe even the cycle reincarnation, but I doubt it. The phrase eye of a gat in Yhwach's Auswahlen chant is talking about the multicolored eyes of the Soul King Adonus. As we saw in a recent episode, the Soul King's eyes represent that of a gat, a gemstone known for its layered bands in diverse colors. On one level, the multicolored bands in his eyes could reflect the multiple races combined within his being: Shinigami, Quincy, Hollow, and Human, each color symbolizing a different aspect or perspective held within the Soul King. We saw in Core 2 when Ichigo was walking down the Irasu Sando, multiple colors was coming out of him. Also, when Ichigo fought Yhwach back in Core 1, his Ryasu would change colors, showing the Hollow and Shinigami side of him. As the linchpin for all realms, Adonus embodies all races simultaneously, which gives him the powers to maintain universal balance. Additionally, the eye of a gat could imply that Adonus has the ability to see beyond ordinary sight, allowing him to perceive the layers of time, space, and reality in a way no other being can. This shows us that his vision is beyond what we see with Yhwach. The phrase tongue of gold taps into some fascinating symbolism, especially when we consider ancient Egyptian beliefs about golden tongues. In Egyptian tradition, burial sites sometimes included placing a gold tongue emblem on the deceased, as it was believed that this golden tongue would allow them to speak to the gods in the afterlife. The gold symbolized both the purity and the divine power necessary to communicate with deities, suggesting that only through this sacred element the deceased gained a voice in the realm beyond life. This is similar to how souls cry to Yhwach even after death, somehow gaining a voice to speak with a god. A skull cup is associated with death, sacrifice, and spiritual transformation. This might represent the idea that the Soul King's body is an offering and sacrifice to maintain the balance of the realms. It can also reflect the fate of those affected by Yhwach's power. When Yhwach activates Auswahlen, his followers are forced to offer up their life force as if they're willingly or unwillingly sacrificing themselves to a higher power. They metaphorically become skull cups, their essence drained and offered up to fuel Yhwach's ambitions. In this sense, each of them is like a vessel that holds and releases its essence, giving up their spiritual energy in a non-literal act of surrender and sacrifice. And now, Coffing Adonus. Adonus, the Soul King, is bound like a corpse and is basically sealed in a coffin. His body and power are restricted to the point where he's almost dead, yet he's crucial to the realm's stability. The line makes it clear that the Soul King isn't free, and he's contained, confined, and entombed in his purpose. It's tragic, honestly, where he's alive, but treated like a dead god, only used to sustain what the Shinigami and Yhwach want. And finally, the object we raise is your heart. Yhwach is talking about the heart of Adonus. As we all know, Gerard is the embodiment of the Soul King's heart, and as the heart, he has the power to manifest miracles upon himself by giving form to the thoughts, feelings, and desires of himself and those around him. He can convert any damage brought upon him into increases of his size and strength. Whenever parts of him regenerate or when his entire body regenerates, you see him drawing upon the Rishi. I think the main focal point of the heart is that it can draw upon power to make the user stronger, essentially. That is why Yhwach raises his heart when activating the Auswahlen, because he draws upon the Quincy's power and converts it to himself, making him or anyone he chooses stronger. With that being said, that is the end of the video. If you enjoyed and found this information useful, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.